Welcome to Heart Over Gold, the channel where love, kindness, and humanity shine brighter than any fortune. In today's story, for 15 years, Enrique Valdez, a wealthy heir with a once bright future, has lain motionless in a coma inside his family's sprawling mansion. Officially, it was the result of a tragic car accident. Unofficially, no one dares to speak about what truly happened. When Mariana Lopez, a skilled nurse, desperate to earn enough for her mother's medical bills, accepts the job of caring for him, she steps into a world of wealth, silence, and unanswered questions. But as she notices strange details, too much muscle tone for someone bedridden, a hidden medical note, and staff who refuse to talk, Mariana begins to suspect that Enrique isn't just sleeping, and someone may want to keep him that way. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments, and keep up with our latest stories. The bus slowed and finally stopped in front of the tall, black iron gates. They stood like silent guards, casting long shadows across the cobblestone path that stretched toward a massive mansion at the far end. Mariana smoothed the creases in her crisp white uniform and took a deep breath. Her eyes wandered over the grand scene before her: ancient stone walls, manicured gardens, and the faint sound of a fountain somewhere beyond the gates. She had worked in hospitals all over the city since she was 21, and at 28, she was no stranger to demanding patience or long hours. But this job, it felt different. The pay was far better than anything she had earned before, and she needed every peso she could get to cover her mother's expensive medications. "Ms. Mariana Lopez?" a uniformed security guard asked, peering down at her ID. He examined it for a moment before nodding. "They've been expecting you." As Mariana walked up the cobblestone path toward the towering front doors, the world seemed to grow quieter, the sounds of the street fading behind her. Neatly trimmed hedges framed the walkway, and marble fountains gleamed in the sunlight. It was another world, one where wealth was woven into every detail. A far cry from the life where she counted every coin and luxuries existed only in other people's lives. At the entrance, she was met by a tall, serious-looking woman with sharp eyes and measured movements. "I am Teresa," the woman said, in a voice that was calm but left no space for argument. "Miss Camila is away at present. She's left clear instructions for the care of Mr. Enrique." The two stepped inside, the click of their shoes echoing through wide marble corridors. The walls were lined with family portraits, men and women frozen in elegant poses. Mariana paused at one in particular, a young man with a bright, confident smile standing beside a graceful woman with dark hair. She tilted her head toward it. "Is that him?" she asked. Teresa's eyes softened for just a second before she let out a quiet sigh. "Before the accident," she murmured. "That was 15 years ago." They continued walking toward the east wing, far from the bustling sounds of staff in other parts of the mansion. The patient's room was large and filled with natural light. Advanced medical equipment lined the walls, their soft hums breaking the silence. At the center, in a hospital bed, lay Enrique Valdez. "The instructions are in that folder," Teresa explained, gesturing toward a neat stack of papers. "Miss Camila is particular about her brother's care. She follows the same routine or changes." Mariana nodded as she moved closer to the bed. Even after 15 years in a coma, Enrique's face still held the smoothness of youth, as if time had chosen to pass him by. Yet there was something in his expression, a faint, uneasy quality that caught her attention. Before leaving, Teresa lowered her voice. "It's best not to ask too many questions about the accident. Miss Camila doesn't like to discuss it." Once alone, Mariana began her initial checks: pulse, breathing, oxygen levels. All were stable. Surprisingly so for someone who had been in a vegetative state for so long. Adjusting his D4th line, a quiet thought crept into her mind. A family this wealthy choose to keep a patient here, at home, instead of in a specialized clinic. The answer, she would soon learn, was nothing like what she expected. During her first week in the Valdez mansion, small oddities began to surface. Whenever she tried to bring up Enrique in conversation, the staff would go silent, change the subject, or suddenly find a reason to leave. One morning, as she sipped coffee in the kitchen, she asked Rosa, the elderly midwife, what Enrique had been like before the accident. Rosa's hands stilled over the laundry she was folding. "He was," Rosa began, searching for words. "He was kind, generous." Her eyes shifted away. "So what happened?" "The file only says it was a car accident, nothing more." "You really shouldn't ask," Rosa whispered, glancing toward the door. "This house has its share of whispers and shadows." The gardener, Don Manuel, offered no more clarity. When Mariana found him tending the flower beds outside Enrique's window, she tried again. It must be hard, she said lightly, seeing him like this after all these years. Manuel pressed his shovel into the soil with extra force. Some truths, he said without looking up, are better left alone if you value your peace. Even the visiting doctor, Dr. Ramirez, kept his distance, offering no small talk during his monthly evaluations. Then one afternoon, while checking Enrique's vitals, Mariana overheard hushed voices in the hall. "The new nurse is curious," Teresa was saying. "Like the last one," replied a man's voice she didn't recognize. "Miss Camila should be told. Remember what happened before?" Mariana froze, her pulse quickening. The last nurse. There were no records of any other nurse in years. Later that day, as she adjusted Enrique's serum, she noticed something unsettling. His muscles that, still weak, had far more tone than she would expect from someone bedridden for so long. Before she could think further, a noise drew her attention to the doorway. Teresa stood there, her expression unreadable. "Miss Camila will return tomorrow," she said. "She want a full report, just the essentials, nothing extra." That evening, in the small office beside Enrique's room, Mariana came across a crumpled scrap of paper tucked into the back of a file. The handwriting was barely legible. "The patient responds to various stimuli, suggest reducing sedation and beginning stimulation therapy. Current state may be maintained for other reasons." The rest was torn away. The note was signed, but the name was too faded to read. A chill crept over her skin. Other reasons. Was Enrique being kept sedated on purpose? She slipped the paper into her pocket and looked at him again, not as a patient lost in a coma, but as a man trapped in his own body. And for the first time, she wondered, who wanted him to stay that way? "What is the duration of your experience with Thefamali?" 5 years, she answered promptly. Mariana let out a sigh, yet unsettling linged in her thoughts. Upon revisiting old documents, she stumbled up on something unsettling. Prior to his hiring, Ramirez lacked a verifiable medical history, a transformation of self. Modified health documentation. All signs pointed to the conclusion that Camila had placed him through not for his expertise, but for his unwavering allegiance. "Is that the same Dr. Ramirez who signed the reports 5 years ago?" Mariana inquired, choosing to embrace certainty. The signatures stand in stark contrast to the ones we have now. Camila's face drained of color. For a brief instant it appeared as though she might unleash a scream, yet she composed herself, donning a frosty smile. "Instead, Miss Lopez, you tread a precarious path," she murmured softly. "I recommend that you concentrate on your responsibilities and refrain from posing awkward inquiries. I hope you don't face any job loss or anything more serious." In that instant, a faint noise emerged from the bed. Enrique let out "Amawan," a sound that, as the records indicate, had not been heard in years. Camila responded. Without hesitation, Teresa, she called out, "Summoned Ramirez at once." Mariana was adamant that she didn't require a doctor. "Shortstories wires, fewer sedatives, and greater stimulation. She is making an effort to raise from slumber." "Be quiet," Camila urged her toward the door. "She has been let go. Gather your belongings and depart immediately. If I decide to leave, I will notify the medical authorities regarding the excessive medication and the falsified records." Camila stood still, Aria, implying something menacing. Mariana responded with conviction. "I am trying to help your brother. The inquiry is, what is your reason for not wanting him, Tehuacan?" The stillness was soon broken by the entrance of Dr. Ramirez, who swiftly read a syringe filled with sedatives. "If you give that dose," Dr. Mariana cautioned, "I will also report your medical negligence." The physician regarded Camalojo remained adamant. "Executed," she commanded as she observed the doctor administering the sedative into Enric's serum. Mariana realized that she had reached an irreversible moment. The battle for the truth had commenced, and retreat was not an option in the face of potential dismissal. Mariana stood resolute in her stance. With Dr. Ramirez gone, Camila had retreated into Jerifes, leaving her solitary with Enrique. "It was your moment, Mr. Enrique," he murmured softly by his ear. "If you can hear my voice, assist is on the way. However, I require you to provide me with a signal, any indication." He retrieved a compact music player from his pocket. In the course of his inquiries, he uncovered notes detailing Enrique's musical preferences. Prior to the incident, he had a particular fondness for the classical bolero. He gently placed a small headstone in Enrique's ear and started to play Besame M. Mucho. He meticulously examined his face, noting each reaction with precision. Initially silence reigned, but soon his fingers started to dance to the beat of the melody. The movement was deliberate, not random. He pursued the rhythm. He was aware of it. He whispered with enthusiasm. He is aware, seizing the opportunity presented by the absence of observers. He slowly began to decrease the flow of the sedative on the floor. He couldn't entirely remove it without arousing suspicion, but he could lower the dosage sufficiently to grant Andre more moments of clarity. In the hours that followed, he maintained a soft conversation, sharing details about the weather, the latest news, and anything else that might engage his thoughts. Occasionally he observed subtle shifts, a finger that curled, an eyelid that quivered. He suggested we create a code, a call for affirmation, and a pair for ejection. Would you be able to give it a shot? Following a brief pause filled with anticipation, Enrique's index finger shifted, purposeful and unmistakable. Mariana struggled to suppress a joyful exclamation. Are you aware of its location? A shift. Do you recall the incident? Emotions. The heart pounded fiercely as it grappled with the unfolding events. She was not only aware, but she was also able to express herself. Has she been harmed by someone? She inquired softly, a deliberate yet steady motion. Could it have been Camila? The motion this time was more intense, nearly frantic. The echo of footsteps in the corridor brought her to a halt. She swiftly calibrated the serum to her usual rhythm and rescued the player. Teresa stepped into the scene with Enrique. Miss Camila has expressed her willingness to remain. She stated in a calm manner that she would be keeping a close eye on her. Thank you, Teresa. Mariana responded, maintaining her composure. I simply wish to fulfill my responsibilities. As the key master departed, Mariana returned to Enrique. Everything will be all right. She murmured softly, I will uncover the truth, but it requires your patience and caution. If Camila senses that she is awakening a shift of comprehension. That evening, as she meticulously updated the medical records, deliberately leaving out the genuine progress, Mariana started to strategize her next move. She required solid proof of medical mistreatment, and even more crucially, she sought to comprehend Camila's motives for wanting to maintain her brother in this condition. Unbeknownst to her, Camila had already started to maneuver her own pieces, and the struggle for the truth was on the brink of escalating into something far more perilous. In the shadows of the room, Enrique's fingers danced once more, this time crafting a deliberate pattern. Marianne observed him intently, attempting to unravel whether it was mere coincidence or if she was conveying a deeper message. At the quiet battle for Enrique Valdez's existence was only starting. The day started with an urgent gathering in Camila's office. Dr. Ramirez, Teresa, and 12 unfamiliar men were there when Mariana received the call. This situation has reached a breaking point, Camila declared, positioned beside her desk. Her presence is disrupting the tranquility of this home and affecting my brother's well-being. Maria responded, pulling out the notes. Enrique's vital signs have shown improvement. If I may interject, I'm not interested in your notes, Camila interrupted. Dr. Ramirez has conveyed concerning updates regarding mi brother's condition. He is experiencing moments of unrest. Dr. Ramirez averted his eye, scratching his head in discomfort as he sidestepped Mariana's gaze. The levels of brain activity are quite unsettling. I recommend enhancing sedation concert. Mariana was unable to hold back her outrage. These indicate progress. Doctor, you are aware that this constitutes medical negligence. One of the mysterious figures advanced a step closer. Miss Lopez, I represent the Valdez family as their legal counsel. I recommend you handle your allegations with caution. Mariana glanced at Teresa, seeking reassurance, yet the key maker remained focused on Thegrin. It was only at that moment that he realized the second man bore a striking resemblance to a security guard. Camila stated that he has an hour to gather his things. Jorge will guide her to the exit. What happens if I decline? Mariana took on a challenge. What would happen if I chose to report this to the authorities? The attorney's smile was devoid of warmth. What proof do you have? All medical records are properly organized and bear the signature of a certified physician. His statement versus. Just as Mariana prepared to reply, the office door swung open. A surprising presence made its way in. Dr. Suarez, the family physician, who made occasional visits to the mansion. Apologies for the interruption, the elderly physician remarked, but I believe it's time for a discussion. Camila turned ashen. Dr. Suarez, this meeting is confidential. A discussion regarding my patient, he responded. With composure, I remain the family doctor for the Valdez family, correct? Dr. Ramirez is the individual. Dr. Ramirez, as Suarez pointed out, was not the physician who attended to Enrique during my vacation 5 years ago. Am I mistaken? A heavy stillness the room. Mariana noticed the anxious glances shared between Camila and the lawyer. I have been observing the situation from a distance. Suarez continued, the findings of Miss Lopez align perfectly with the doubts I harbored years back. Enrique is still slumber, and this time I possess all the essential paperwork to substantiate it. Is he trying to intimidate me? Camila inquired, her voice quivering just a bit. I am safeguarding my patient, the doctor responded. Miss Lopez remains unless she wishes to clarify to the authorities there is on behind the 3 changes in medical personnel over the past 5 years. Mariana paused, her breath caught in her throat. As Camila weighed her choices at last, the woman experienced a sense of dryness while she remarked, her tone frigid and unyielding. She may remain, but I caution you both, you are engaging in a perilous endeavor. As they exited the office, Dr. Suarez gently took Mariana by the arm. Exercise caution, he murmured, what lies ahead is far more significant. Then you realize, I will seek you out tomorrow to reveal something significant. Mariana stepped back into Enrique's room, her thoughts swirling as she tried to make sense of all that had transpired. She had triumphed in a skirmish, yet the conflict was far from concluded, and now an unforeseen companion had emerged unbeknownst to her. That night, as she delved into the details of Enrique, she would uncover a revelation that would alter the trajectory of the investigation in the stillness of the night. With the mansion enveloped in slumber, Mariana seized the chance to conduct a more thorough investigation. A subtle note had been left for her by Dr. Suarez. Examine the area behind the panel in the dusty archive. With quivering fingers, she looked the panel and extracted a yellow envelope. Within the envelope lay a letter from 5 years past, composed by Dr. Suarez. I am writing to express my concern regarding the treatment of patient Enrique Valdez. Unusual concentrations of sedatives in his blood. Tests which greatly surpass the recommended doses. I have a strong suspicion there has been a purposeful administration of drugs to maintain the patient in an artificially induced state of unconsciousness. Mariana immersed herself in the pages, her pulse quickening with each word. She absorbed the correspondence, outlined a number of discrepancies, modifications, and prescriptions. Outcomes of manipulated laboratory results, and medical staff dismissed without justification. Where you are able to discover what you sought. Teresa's voice eclipsed her presence. The keymaster stood at Thedo, yet to Mariana's astonishment, he appeared anything but hostile. Teresa Eno. You need to apologize, the woman stated as she shut the door behind her. Been anticipating the arrival of someone like you, someone unafraid to seek answers. Teresa sank into a chair with a weighty sigh. I have dedicated 30 years to my work with Valdez. I witnessed the journey of Enrique and Camila as they matured matters. It wasn't always this way with us. Shifted the testament. Teresa responded softly. Don Alberto, the patriarch, altered his will just prior to his passing. He bequeathed the majority of the wealth to Enrique, stipulating that he oversee the family's financial affairs. Camila would receive only a monthly allowance. Mariana started to grasp the situation, and soon after the incident took place, Teresa presumed it was intentional. I discovered the vacant jas in Enrique's room, with pills crushed into his meals. After months of anticipation, when it finally fell apart, Camila seized control of everything. Why didn't you speak up? Who is it? Teresa smiled was tinged with bitterness. Camila had crafted a web of influence that enabled her to steer this to her advantage in the early years. She leveraged her influence to secure a fraudulent medical statement declaring that Enrique was unfit for aggressive treatments. Moreover, she had strategically positioned reliable individuals in crucial roles within the organization, ensuring that her choice remained unchallenged. As time passed, a routine took shape. Enrique stayed in the mansion, watched over by doctors who relied financially on Camila. Every effort to probe into her condition was thwarted by bureaucratic red tape, legal maneuvering, and villain intimidation. A sound echoed in the hallway, prompting them to fall. Silent footsteps drew near. Hold on to the letter, Teresa urged in a hushed tone. I will provide you with additional evidence tomorrow. Within the confines of with a swift motion, the door swung open. The individual in question was the security guard. Miss Camila demands your presence, Teresa stated with a stern demeanor. Teresa rose, casting a final meaningful glance at Mariana. Keep going with your round, and keep in mind, the walls are listening in solitude. Mariana gazed at Enrique in the shadows. She felt a tear escape tracing a path down her cheek. Don't worry, she murmured softly, squeezing her hand at this moment. Weapons evidence and support. Enrique's fingers twitched gently as if grasping at the elusive promise of justice, yet within the confines of the mansion. Camila Valdez pressed Teresa Françoise, and the clock was ticking down rapidly as the first light of dawn crept in. The mansion. Valdez arrived, heralding a pivotal moment as Mariana conducted her night round. She observed a shift in the readings of Enrique's monitors. His brainwaves exhibited a peculiar pattern of activity. Excuse me, Mr. Enrique. He leaned in, softly drawing closer to the bed. Are you able to hear me? Enrique's eyelids fluttered with a subtle intensity. Gradually, with great reluctance, his eyes fluttered open. First time in a decade and a half. His gaze, though unfocused, fell upon her. Please Don't try to speak, Mariana said softly as she monitored her vital signs. The respiratory tube acts as a barrier against it. Give a single blink. If you comprehend my words, a deliberate and mindful blink, I'm going to assess your flexes. All right, yet another blink. Mariana conducted the fundamental Eureka assessment. To her astonishment, Enrique reacted to nearly every stimulus. His muscles, though feeble, responded to basic commands. Text, please remain composed, she said, meticulously recording every detail. Upon hearing her sister's mention, Camila felt an immediate stir within hearers, if she were on the brink of awakening. The heart monitor displayed a surge in heart rate, and Enrique's fingers. Dan said with urgency, stay calm. Mariana whispered, lie, taking her hand. She is secure. We possess evidence of her actions. Dr. Suarez is assisting us out of no hair. She caught the sound of voices echoing in the corridor. She swiftly smoothed the sheets and feigned an inspection of the floor as Camila walked in, accompanied by Dr. Ramirez. What brings him here at this hour? Camila insisted. Mariana responded with a sense of tranquility. Nick, the levels of oxygen were somewhat diminished. Dr. Ramirez moved toward the monitors, a frown creasing his brow. The mind is buzzing with activity. An extra dose will be necessary. Mariana stepped in. She has already taken her evening dose. Additional sedatives might since. When does a nurse challenge my choices? Ramirez paused, getting ready with a syringe just as he was about to administer the drug. An astonishing even unfolded. Enrique's eyes fluttered open once more, this time locking onto his sister's gaze. Camila recoiled as though she had encountered a specter. Unfortunately, that cannot be done. She is waking up, Marian declared with conviction, and this time there will be no stopping it. Doctor, do something, Camila shouted, but Ramirez stood frozen, watching as his patient displayed unmistakable signs of awareness. Mariana cautioned that if he gives more sedatives, she will need to account for it to the authorities. All the evidence is in our possession. Enrique attempted to lift his hand, his fingers reaching out towards his sister in a motion that could signify either a request or a charge. This isn't over, Camila whispered, rushing out of the room. Dr. Ramirez trailed Ben-Hur, leaving Mariana in solitude with Enrique in the stillness that ensued. No tears streaming down her patient face. The worst is behind us, she reassured him tenderly, wiping his face clean. Now commences his genuine healing journey. As Mariana consoled Enrique, she was acutely aware that Camila would prove to be a formidable opponent. The true conflict was only starting, and the coming hours would prove vital for the fate of all. The modest triumph of that early morning was succeeded by a flurry of activity within the mansion. Dr. Suarez made an early entrance, joined by a specialist neurologist who have been observing the case from a distance. The documents you uncovered validate our concerns, Suarez articulated as he scrutinized Enrique. It wasn't merely a car accident, it was a calculated act of poisoning. Dr. Valencia, the neurologist, examined the previous tests. The analysis of these blood samples indicates the presence of toxic levels of various compounds. Some are widely used sedatives while others. What about the others? Mariana inquired. Agents that slowly impair the nervous system, given in minimal amounts over extended periods, possibly spanning months or even years. Enrique, now more aware, though still connected to the respiratory tube, listened intently with keen eyes. Dr. Valencia approached him. Lie, Mr. Valdez, do you recall experiencing any symptoms prior to the supposed accident? Feeling lightheaded, vulnerability to enter a nod of agreement. Did you have any suspicions about someone? Yet another blink. Camila was not the sole actor in this situation. She cut off. Teresa, who had just walked in, her face bore the traces of tears. Roberto Mendez, the companysecond, provided assistance to her. I discovered some documents. A sound in the corridor broke her concentration. Camila made her entrance, accompanied by 2 police officers and her attorney. He declared that these individuals are obstructing his brother's treatment. I demand their arrest for medical negligence, one of the officers responded. Miss Valdez, a judicial order has been issued to probe the allegations of poisoning and attempted homicide. Camila's face had deteriorated. Excuse me, this is utterly absurd. Dr. Suarez delivered compelling proof. The officer pressed on, and Mr. Mendez finally admitted the truth. Roberto voice quivered. Absolutely not. He revealed all his secrets. Teresa stepped in. Their methods of drug manipulation and the ways they distorted the reports were quite alarming. She even brought up the initial shim to keep Enrique under sedation until he passed away naturally, thereby claiming the entire fortune. Camila attempted to escape, yet the officers intercepted her. As the ceremony unfolded, she cast a glance at her brother, her expression a blend of fury and hopelessness. Everything ought to have belonged to me, she exclaimed. My father never had faith in my ability to manage the business. Hellways held you in the highest regard. Enrique shut his eyes, tears streaming down his face. Mariana clasped her hand tightly, a gesture filled with anger. The officer stated that Miss Valdez has the right to remain silent as Camila was being taken. Valencia started to ready the procedure for the removal of the respiratory tube. He cautioned that it would be a lengthy journey. 15 years of involuntary sedation have resulted in significant harm. Surely it will bounce back, won't it? Mariana inquired, after a period of dedicated therapy. In patience, the doctor offered a faint smile. The determination of Mr. Valdez to embrace life is remarkable. He has triumphed over what seemed insurmountable. Enrique gently squeezed Mariana's hand, a spark of resolve illuminating their path. The truth had finally emerged, yet the journey to healing was only just starting. Camila Sorrest set off a chain of revelations. In the days that followed, law enforcement conducted a thorough search of her office, uncovering a safe concealed behind a painting with an L inside. The sensitive financial documents lay a diary as Mariana carefully tended to Enrique's bandages. Detective Ruiz made his entrance holding diary in hand. Mr. Valdez, we have discovered something that ought to be. Enrique, free from the respiratory tube, yet still too weak to utter much, took a seat. Mariana positioned her bed to allow herself to sit more upright. Ruiz explained that her sister's diary contains all the details. The events unfolded soon after her father altered the will. Camila sought the expertise of a chemist regarding poisons that were challenging to identify. Teresa, witnessing the scene unfold, gasped in shock, her hand instinctive lively to her mouth. That's why she always made it a point to prepare Enrique's tea herself. Precisely. The detective continued. The strategy involved a slow decline in his health, making it appear though it were a natural illness. However, an unexpected issue arose. Enrique gestured, requesting paper and a pencil. With trembling hands, he inscribed, I realized indeed. Ruiz has confirmed the diary reveals that you started to have suspicions and arranged a meeting with the board of directors. In a moment of desperation, Camila escalated the dosage, leading to the disastrous outcome. However, that does not clarify the subsequent 15 years. Mariana stepped in. No, Ruiz stated, his expression grave. The aftermath was even more dire. Camila engaged in bribery with doctors, falsified documents, and leveraging the notarial authority she acquired during her incapacitation. She initiated the diversion of funds from the company. Enrique penned another piece. What is the cost? Millions. Ruiz responded. However, there is an additional concern that looms larger in the final entries of the diary. Camila notes the contribution of other members of the board of directors who supported her. Impactful names. In an instant, piercing screams echoed through the corridor. Suarez hurriedly entered the room. Camila has gotten away, Detective Ruiz said, his jaw clenched tightly. Mariana experienced a sudden chill. How can this be achieved? A vehicle was intercepted on the highway. 2 motorcycles obstructed the road while a black car loomed at the rear. The officers found themselves disarmed, and in that moment, Camila vanished without a trace. Mariana gently shut her eyes. The escape was anything but simple. A figure of influence and means continued to shield her. Suarez revealed that she had accomplices on standby, and before escaping, he declared, would complete what he began. Detective Ruiz swiftly engaged his radio surveillance as required at the Valdez mansion at this moment, and safeguarding for Mr. Valdez and all medical personnel. Enrique, with a W complexion yet resolute, bit pen to paper. He won't be able to escape for long indeed. Ruiz conquered, yet it is the actions I can take prior to reaching her that concern me. He possesses an abundance of secrets. He possesses a wealth of resources. Now he stands with everything to gain. Mariana inspected the windows and doors of the room, ensuring they were securely shut. Should we move Enrique to a hospital? It's too risky. At this moment, Suarez responded, it is at greater risk. During a transfer in this place, we find a sense of safety and familiarity with the landscape. Teresa came back accompanied by additional security personnel. The gardens are under surveillance and all alternate entrances have been secured. Enrique crafted yet another note. The lower level Ancienta Sogwe. Which tunnel are you referring to? Ruiz inquired, visibly startled. Teresa revealed that a hidden passage links the basement to the backyards. The date marking the period of the revolution. Hardly anyone is aware of it. Camila is aware of it. Enrique penned, hissed, shaking increasingly. Ruiz swiftly commanded a thorough examination of the basement, yet it was clear to all that it was only a matter of time. Camila was intimately familiar with the mansion, and her threat lingered in the atmosphere like a toxic specter. The night drew near, bringing with it the undeniable truth that Thistle still had a shadowy chapter yet to unfold. The rigorous rehabilitation started to yield impressive outcomes. Following 3 weeks of relentless therapy. Enrique made modest progress. His fingers were able to bend a bit, and his breathing had evened out, granting him greater independence from oxygen. He still struggled to articulate his thoughts, yet he started to produce sounds indicating that his vocal cords were beginning to stir. Proceed with a sense of calm, Mariana advised him. Your body requires a period of adjustment following an extended period of inactivity. Enrique blinked, signaling his comprehension. He understood that Thegeny would be arduous, yet each minor progress felt like a triumph. Each minor progress felt like a triumph over the long years of imposed numbness. Fragments linger in my mind, he murmured. One afternoon, as Mariana her physiotherapy exercises whispers dialysis at times, I was aware, yet my body remained unresponsive. Valencia explained that this is often the case with prolonged sedation. His thoughts raced, yet his body remained unresponsive. The mansion's security remained at its highest level. Camilla remained untraceable, yet her bank accounts indicated transactions overseas. The authorities had their suspicions that he had traversed the border. I need to recover quickly, Enrique sighed, struggling to get the words out. The organization is following a critical situation. Mariana suggested not to put too much pressure on yourself. The focus is on his physical recovery, yet there was an additional concern that troubled Enrique in his fleeting moments of clarity. Amidst the haze of sedation, he had caught snippets of compromising conscious identities of the executives participating in Camilla's unlawful actions. They are filled with fear, he murmured. I possess an abundance of knowledge. That night, as she pored over her recent exams, Mariana stumbled up on something unsettling. The recent blood tests revealed remnants of the same compound that Camilla had utilized years prior within the confines of the mansion. There lingered an unseen force, intent on silencing Enrique. The inquiry was who. Camilla arrived back at the mansion amidst the howling winds and pouring rain. Not the main door nor through the basement tunnel, but through a hidden passage to the greenhouse that only she was aware of. Her strategy was straightforward: seize the funds she had stashed away long ago and vanish. Without a trace, she was taken by surprise to discover Enrique waiting for her in Thelebury. He was certain you would come back, he said, his voice wavering yet resolute. He sat in his wheelchair with Mariana beside him. In what way? Camilla stood still, her hand automatically searching through her pocket. Is this what you're searching for? Mariana presented a jar filled with pills. We discovered them in the tea that Teresa nearly offered you this morning, the very owns you've relied on for years. Do you not grasp the situation then? Camilla uttered her poison raveling. It wasn't solely about the financial gain. My father always had his doubts about me. He never offered me an opportunity. You are mistaken, Enrique interjected. The document contained a provision you overlooked: the management of the Campana acquired, the involvement of both individuals functioning as equal partners. Yet following my downfall, you a strategic legal tactic to seize complete authority. I discovered the papers in Thivo, a falsified signature, a compromised notary, and a distorted judicial order, designed to portray me as incapable of making decisions. It was more than mere ambition. Camilla, the heist was meticulously planned. The realization hit Camilla with the force of a thunderbolt. Every scheme she devised, every act of deceit and wrongdoing had ultimately led to nothing. Señorita Valdez. The voice of Detective Ruiz echoed from the darkness. Camilla surveyed her surroundings, filled with urgency. The officers appeared from various corners of the library. Arms at the Rediet's finished sister. Enrique said gently, it's time to confront reality, as Theophysis secured her wrists with handcuffs. Camilla cast a final glance at her brother. In her gaze there lingered an emotion that transcended mere anger or fear. Regret lingered in the air. Apologies escaped her lips in a hushed tone just before she was led away. In this of the library, silence enveloped the space. Mariana softly placed her hand on Enric's shoulder, sensing the gravity of this concluding moment. The reality was unveiled yet. Thecost had been steep for all involved in the days that followed. Camilla arrest unveiled further revelations. In her confession, she disclosed the presence of a corruption network that reached far beyond the Valdez company. Executive politicians and judges alike participated in the Scamito divert funds. Enrique, growing more robust through rigorous therapy, started to recall dialogues he had overheard during his lucid moments in the induced coma. Names, dates, transactions, each detail gradually surfaced from the depths of his memory. It felt as though she were snared in a haunting dream conveyed to Mariana as they sifted through papers in her study. Every sound reached my ears, yet my body remained still. No one could be alerted by me. Is that the reason Camilla was so adamant about keeping him sedated? She inquiring the examinations for the prosecution. Indeed, each time the sedation was lessened, I started to exhibit signs of awareness. She feared that she might expose what she had overheard. The inquiry uncovered that Roberto Mendez, the accountant, was the mastermind orchestrating the financial aspects of the scheme. He crafted the intricate ghost company system that Camila employed to siphon off funds. However, there remains a point of confusion for me, Mariana remarked. What motivated Dr. Ramirez to take part? Enrique wore a wistful smile. Deception. Camila uncovered the truth that her medical degree was not genuine. She wasn't truly a doctor, she was merely a nurse who had appropriated someone else's identity. The entire truth emerged at last, akin to fragments of a dark puzzle that united to unveil the full picture of treachery. What will your next move be? Mariana watched intently as Enrique struggled to manage on his own rebuild. He responded, the organization, my exit. That encompasses me. However, on this occasion, I intend to approach things in a new way. He moved toward the window, gazing out at the mansion's gardens. Throughout all those years, the thing that maintained my sanity was the belief that someone would uncover the truth and you arrive. Mariana sent its gravity of those words, recalling the countless nights spent in watchful observation, the trails pursued, the instances of peril. I simply fulfilled my responsibilities. You accomplished far more than that, Enrique remarked, turning to her. You restored my existence. The sun dipped below the horizon at the Valdez mansion, signaling the close of a shadowy chapter and the dawn of a fresh beginning. The reality was harsh, yet essential for recovery. The Valdez mansion started its metamorphosis as Enrique steadily took the reins of the company. The lingering shadows started to fade away. In doing so, he transformed the dynamic between himself and Mariana. The bond had evolved beyond the simple relationship of caregiver and recipient, transcending into deep discussions during therapy, meaningful glances exchanged, and those fleeting instances of understanding. All things had transformed into a more profound essence. One afternoon, while engaged in his exercises, Enrique shared, Dr. Valencia mentioned that I no longer require constant supervision. His hand lingered a moment longer than needed over Mariana's as she assisted him. That is wonderful news, she responded, basking in the comfort of his touch. Your recovery has been remarkably, indicating that your time here is nearing its conclusion, he remarked, locking eyes with her. Unless what Marina murmured, her pulse quickening. Unless you choose to remain not in thrall of my caregiver, but as something different. The stillness that brimmed with potential. Mariana grappled with a deep internal struggle, torn between her professional principles and the emotions she had begun to harbor for Enrique. I understand your thoughts, he said gently. You believe it's not right since you saw me as a patient, yet during these months you've not only aided my physical recovery, you've taught me that trust is possible again, that I can truly feel. Enrique, she started, but he interrupted her by taking her hand. Take your time to think it over. I'm simply requesting that you consider the option of staying. The clinic I envision requires a medical director, a person with your expertise and principles. I seek a partner to assist me in creating something innovative, something improved. Mariana gazed at her hands entwined, sensing the disintegration of her professional aspirations in the face of her true emotions. We need time, he finally said. Time to ensure that this is genuine and not merely a result of everything we've experienced together. We have all the time in the world, he replied with a smile. There are no more secrets, no rushes, no shadows, only us and what we can create. Together. The afternoon sun streamed through the windows, enveloping them in a warm, golden glow. The gardens of the mansion thrived with vibrant life, as if nature was in it, just in the departure of darkness, but in the dawn of a fresh and promising chapter. At times, the hardest choice lead us precisely to our destined path. I proceed with the upcoming chapters of this fresh, romantic direction. The following morning broke with a fresh illumination. Mariana had lingered in the soft glow of candlelight throughout the night, reflecting on her conversation with Enrique, contemplating every possibility and weighing all the risks. Teresa had discovered her in the garden, lost in thought. As the dawn broke, have you come to a conclusion yet? Inquired elderly lady with a cheerful companion. Is it really that clear? Responded Mariana with a smile. Girl, I've spent 3 decades in this house, and I've witnessed how they appear. It embodies a gaze that can only be found in the presence of authenticity. Enrique discovered them in that spot, maneuvering his chair with finesse. Greetings of the day, he greeted her, his gaze instantly searching for Mariana's. I'll leave you alone, Tara said quietly, stepping back. I thought you were leaving today, he remarked, drawing closer. I thought so too, she replied, turning to him, but all night I kept recalling something you said. When you woke up, what item throughout all those years? In a coma, the sole thing that sustained your consciousness was hope, and I came to understand that I now possess my own hope. Enrique grasped his hand, weaving their fingers together. What is it? A desire to create something fresh, not merely the clinic, nor solely a new chapter for the Valdez mansion, but something that belongs to us. Enrique's face radiated a smile that Mariana had never encountered before. It was the smile of a person who had at last discovered their true place in the world. Dr. Valencia emphasizes the importance of setting clear boundaries, maintaining a professional demeanor even in this intimate setting, ensuring that personal matters do not intertwine with our work in the clinic. Naturally, he approached it with utmost seriousness. You will hold the position of medical director, enjoying complete professional independence. And we need time, she added, to do things well, step by step, all time. You need, he replied, bringing his hand to his lips, and a gentle gesture. Thiessen had fully emerged, enveloping the garden in a warm golden glow. The Rosa Star Teresa, nurtured with such devotion, appeared to glow as though they were rejoicing in this moment. You know, Enrique said, glancing around, after so many years this mansion finally exudes warmth of a true home. Mariana clasped her hands softly, fully grasping sentiment behind her words at times. Home transcends mere location. It becomes a choice. We make the choice to remain, to create, to have faith in new opportunities. As the staff embarked on their daily tasks, the birds chirped melodiously in the trees and the mansion stirred to life with the dawn of a new day. Two individuals who had navigated through shadows together chose to start their own narrative, one brimming with brightness and optimism. A year had slipped by. Emphatic, fateful morning in the garden. The Valdez mansion had undergone a remarkable metamorphosis, evolving into a hub of neurological rehabilitation and distinction. The hallways that once concealed shadows now echoed with tales of hope and healing. Mariana managed the medical center with the same unwavering grit she had demonstrated in her nursing career. Her office, once Thelabri, transformed into a sanctuary where patients and their families discovered not just medical care, but also compassion and encouragement. Enrique, fully restored, balanced his time between managing his enterprises and creating innovative programs for the center, yet it was the serene afternoons that he cherished most. One, following the departure of the last patient, he could enjoy a coffee with Mariana in the garden. Do you recall our initial discussion here? He inquired one afternoon as they gazed at the sunset from the very bench where they had chosen to embark on their journey together. What's the best way to move on from it? Mariana beamed, resting on her shoulder. She was deeply focused on you, folding a sense of professionalism, and I was filled with dread at the thought of you walking away, he admitted, with the engagement ring that sparkled in her grasp. Yet I was certain that if any uncle would assist me in creating something fresh, it was you. Teresa, the heart of the mansion, observed them from the kitchen window, a sense of maternal pride swelling within her. The dwelling that had previously borne witness to an abundance of sorrow now resonated with a newfound vitality. Next week, the fresh rehabilitation team from Spain will be arriving, Mariana remarked as she went over her notes. Even in the most personal of moments, her commitment to the center shone through. As the following month dawned, Enrique wore a playful grin. Next month we will tie the knot, she finished, her smile returning. And no, I remained steadfast in my decision to hold these here in the garden. The choice to commemorate his wedding in the very location near his journey had stopped. Ted was anything but accidental. The Valdez mansion, once a gilded cage, now stood as a beacon of change and fresh starts. From her cell, Camilla had dispatched a letter of congratulations upon hearing the news of the engagement. Resentment transformed into remorse, and while the scars of history may never fully mend, a feeling of resolution merged at times. Enrique mused, gazing at the horizon. It seems that all that transpired, no matter how dreadful, has led us to this very moment. The truth always finds its way. Mariana reflected, recalling the phrase she had uttered countless times throughout those bleak moments. At times it carries along a touch of beauty. The sun dipped below the horizon of the Valdez mansion, casting a soft glow of pink and gold across the sky and the gardens. The roses that Teresa nurtured with such devotion thrived with vibrant life, standing as quiet witnesses to a tale that began with enigma and sorrow, yet blossomed into love and hope as the night gently enveloped the mansion. Two souls, having discovered love in an unforeseen corner of life, exchanged a tender kiss, aware that certain conclusions often mask deeper truths. The truth came at a cost, yet love proved to be the most delightful prize. Did this tale of intrigue, treachery, and salvation draw you into the Valdez mansion? Mariana's quest for the truth and her determination to assist Enrique reveal that justice, while often delayed, ultimately prevails. If this tale of suspense and hope resonated with you, feel free to share it with your friends and family, and give us a like to help more people uncover this captivating story. We are eager to hear your thoughts on the link, and most importantly, which country you are following this story from. Share your experiences in the comments. If you've encountered situations where the truth took time to emerge, yet ultimately prevailed,